Welcome to Trust Me. It's complicated. Decoding estate planning, probate, and trusts with attorney John Marshall.
Hello, and welcome to the Trust Me, It's Complicated podcast. My name is John Marshall. I'm your host, and this show is dedicated to helping people understand the world of trusts, estate, probate, guardianship, and all the other fun topics that come with those areas of law. My goal is to make these topics less intimidating, more approachable, and maybe even fun to talk about. Whether you're creating your first estate plan, navigating probate, or trying to protect your family's legacy, this is the place for you. You want to listen in. Each episode, we're going to break down some complex legal issues into as plain English as possible, share some practical insights from real cases, and give you the tools and knowledge you need to make informed decisions about your future and your loved ones. Estate planning isn't just about documents, it's about people, families, pets, and the peace of mind that comes with knowing you planned ahead. So let's dive in, start building clarity, confidence, and security together. Today, I'm going to talk about something that I'm really passionate about, and that is pet trusts. Yes, you heard that right, pet trusts. You can create a trust for the care of a pet. I don't care if that is a horse, a dog, a cat, or a gerbil. It can be done. Section 736.0408 of the Florida statutes was created specifically to give people the right to create pet trusts. Now, we can do it, but sometimes people go, well, why would I want to create a pet trust? Well, there are some very practical reasons behind that. So let's look at those reasons. I have 4 dogs. I love dogs. Okay. My wife and I, when we got married, she had a 3-pound, long haired toy chihuahua named Lulu. Lulu was awesome. Okay. I never wanted a chihuahua. I thought they were ridiculous, tiny little dogs. I always had Yo quiero Taco Bell, stuck in my head when I would see a chihuahua. Lulu was the most loving, wonderful little dog, but she wasn't afraid of anything. And at 3 pounds, she would go charging into danger to protect us like you wouldn't believe. But it was her personality. So I fell in love with this dog. And over the years, we got other dogs. Okay. We have Patron, Ivanka, Katniss. We unfortunately lost Lulu and we got Gizmo. In fact, if you are acquainted with martial law, you have seen Gizmo. Either one, you've come into the office and met him in person, or two, you've received an email from Gizmo because he is our public relations officer and our marketing manager. Okay, so we love our dogs. Now, why do we have a pet trust created for them? Well, if my wife and I die, we want to know that there is money set aside to care for our pets with the same intensity, love, compassion, and care that we would provide if we were still alive. That's the purpose of a pet trust. And I know some people will say, well, why would I create a pet trust? Why wouldn't I just go ahead and in my estate plan say, if I die and I still have Gage, I want Gage to go to my brother Eric. Okay. Sounds good. And I've seen estate plans. Hey, Gage is going to go to Eric, and I'm also going to give $5,000 to Eric to take care of Gage. Sounds great. And Eric says, sure, I'll take care of Gage. Not a problem. You die. Eric gets $5,000 and Gage. And then Gage ends up at the shelter because, well, Eric got the $5,000. Maybe he never cared to take care of Gage. It was about getting the money. Or he had every intention to take care of Gage, but Eric moved and he has an apartment now where he can't have a dog. Or he got married and his wife is allergic to dog hair, to dog dander. Okay. These things happen. And next thing you know, Gage ends up, in a facility. And hopefully as an older dog, he gets adopted out. But that doesn't always happen. And it's very heartbreaking. I hate going to PetSmart or Petco on a Saturday, and you see all these senior dogs that are up for adoption, because I want to adopt them all. Okay. I feel bad for these dogs. I want them to have a good home life. But people want puppies and they want a long relationship, and adopting a senior dog isn't always something that people are looking for because maybe that dog has some health issues. Maybe that dog, is maybe has 1 or 2 years left in him, and you don't want to get emotionally attached and lose a dog that quick. Um, but yet, it doesn't change the fact that they need a forever home too. When we create a pet trust, what we are saying is we're going to set aside money to care for these pets, and the money is going to follow the pet. So if Eric takes the pet, Eric just doesn't get the money. The trustee will reimburse Eric for food, vet bills, things like that. But if Eric can't keep the dog, let's say Gage is, his dander is such that, Eric's new wife can't live with Gage. I know some people would go, well, it's the dog or the wife, and I'm sure there's a joke in there somewhere, but I am not going to go down that road. I work with my wife. So, at the end of the day, the dog goes. The money follows the dog. And so if you approach someone and you say, hey, I've got this senior dog Gage, you know, um, would you take him in? And it could be even worse. Gage is on medicine. But then a trustee says, hey, if you take him in, guess what? We're going to pay for his medicine. We're going to pay for his vet bills. We're going to pay for his food. All we need you to do, give him a good home. Give him the love that he needs, like all dogs need. And that's something that, again, it changes the dynamic of what we're dealing with, because now the money follows the dog or the pet, whatever pet it is, cat, horse, whatever. And now we know that the money is there to care for them. So when we draft a pet trust, we want to address three different people: caretaker, trustee, enforcer. Because sometimes we may say, hey, you know, Eric, you're going to take Gage. Great. And you go, well, Eric, you're the trustee of my trust after I die. So I'm going to make you the trustee of the pet trust. And he goes, okay, great. Now, if he's the caretaker and the trustee, wants to stop him just from taking all the money for himself. That's where the enforcer comes in. And the enforcer basically is a third party that is accounted to on behalf of the pet. I mean, obviously, if I went to, Gage and I said, hey, let me read you the accounting that Eric put together, Gage could care less unless that accounting was on a milk boat. Okay, but again, the enforcer is the one looking at that, going, okay, the accounting looks correct. The money is being used appropriately because the trustee of a pet trust is a fiduciary, just like they are for a trust for a person. Okay, the fiduciary duties are the same. So we want to identify a caretaker, we want to identify a trustee, and an enforcer. Okay. Now, what we don't want to do is, make it so vague that we kind of leave it up to one person who fills all three roles. We really do want to find at least two people. One person as an enforcer, and maybe you have one person as trustee and caretaker, but at least they're reporting to the enforcer. And here's the interesting thing: you can create these trusts as part of your existing estate plan. So it's not that we have to draft a separate trust. We can actually draft and put it in your trust. So Patty and I, in our trust, we have what's called the Lulu Legacy Trust, Pet Trust. And Lulu's legacy is in honor of our dog Lulu. And what it says is this trust is established for any pet we own at the time of our death. So if we died today, we've got Gizmo, Patron, Ivanka, Katniss, and Yondu, who is a beta fish. Okay. But the trustee is going to pay for their care. Then, when the last of the pets die, if there's money left in that trust, we have designated a humane society that we are confident that the money will be used appropriately as the remainder beneficiary. And the reason for that is when the last of our pets die, we want any money left over, assuming there's any money left over, to go to benefit other pets. That's simply where our hearts are. Okay. So at the end of the day, it gives us peace of mind knowing that our dog's going to be taken care of, but we also can affect other pets down the road as well. Um, Now, again, it doesn't have to be a standalone trust. We can amend your existing documents to include the language to create this because it comes into creation after death. You could create it while you're alive. Nothing says you can't, but we typically draft these as what we call testamentary trusts, meaning they are established as part of your estate when you die and the trust becomes irrevocable, or if it's part of a will while we're going through the probate process. So, again, though, very powerful and very pretty new. It's only been in really the last 10 years that this has really been a viable option here in Florida. There have been cases that have recognized pet trust, but it was actually passed into statute, and it was really driven by the fact that we have a lot of horses, very valuable horses in Ocala. And we wanted to make sure that these horses were cared for after the owner's death, but we didn't limit it, or the state didn't limit it to what kind of pet. So if you want a pet alligator, great. I'd talk to a psychiatrist, but you could create a pet trust for the alligator. It's good for dogs, cats, any kind of animal that you have. One of the things that in creating this, I really want to touch back on before we close out is this is especially valuable for senior dogs because, or any senior pet, because it makes them a viable candidate for adoption. And one of the other things, and again, this is a real life story, pets are good for you. Now, I know some people don't like dogs, don't like cats. I get that, not really, but I understand that that's a position people have. But I had a gentleman came to me. He lost his wife. 2 weeks later, his dog just died. He was devastated because you know he he lost his wife, and his dog was that companion that was there for him at that moment that he was really mourning the loss of his wife, and now all of a sudden his dog's gone, and he went from having two other people, or a person and a dog in his life, to nobody. And he was talking to me, he said, I can just never get another dog. I'm 78 years old. I get another dog, the odds are I'm going to die before it. And I just you know I can't have it end up in the pound. And I said, well, let me talk to you about pet trusts. And it totally changed his outlook on things. And what's funny is we updated his estate plan. He did not have a dog, but he had a pet trust put in for any pets I own at the time of my death. And about 2 to 3 weeks later, he comes back to my office and walks in and says, I want you to meet Roger. And Roger is a golden retriever puppy. And he said, I have to get up every morning to walk Roger. I have to take care of him. He gets me up and out of bed when I don't feel like I can face the day. And so he's mourning the loss of his wife of 50 plus years. But now here's a dog that gets him up, gets him moving. And you know what? He's building that relationship. Um, yeah, this happened in real life. This isn't me just repeating the opening of John Wick. Okay. Although, so help me, when they killed that dog, I wanted to go into the movie and find the guy and kill him. I'm glad John Wick got him, but I digress. So you know what? It was a way for my client to mourn, but do it in a way that was allowing him to get exercise, get out of bed, move. But now he had the assurance that if something happened to him, Roger was going to be taken care of. And the odds of Roger being adopted and going into another forever home was going to be much, much higher. So if you are a pet lover like we are, if you have animals in your life that you want to know are going to be taken care of after your death, come speak to us. We're happy to talk to you about pet trusts, to go over your various options, and to put one together so that at the end of your life, those pets that you have with you, it's not the end of theirs. and you can give them a more and more time where they are going to live happy, productive lives. Thank you. My name is John Marshall. This is Marshall Law, and we would welcome the opportunity to talk to you. Our phone number is 352-432-8859, and you can find us on the web at marshallawpa.com. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.